After Sean Strickland excused himself for fighting overly safe leading to his victory over Jack Hermanson, which he blamed on the added pressure of having everyone in the media and behind the scenes repeating that win could lead him to fight for the title, he was asked who he thought would win in a fight between Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya, who should be next for the title shot, and how he would fare in a match versus Adesanya. He felt he did enough to warrant the shot, but he also said that he would understand if Cannonier wins Derek Brunson, the Cannonier would also. He said, let's say Cannonier wins. I think Cannonier deserves the next title shot. Hands down, he deserves it if he wins. But if he doesn't win, Izzy's ran through the entire division. Let's get some fresh blood in there. Someone who he hasn't beat in the division. I raise my hand. Let's go. I think Izzy beats Whittaker. He's a very methodical fighter. He thinks, he strikes. The guy's a computer. He's crunching numbers in his head. I think he beats Whittaker. For Whittaker to beat Izzy, he has to forget he's an MMA fighter and be like Kelvin Gastelum. I think he has the ability to do that. I spar a lot of high-level kickboxers. I think I'll read his shots. I'll block and get in his face. Izzy is one of those guys where it's going to be a war. You're going to get knocked out or you're going to win. Kelvin Gastelum understood that. I understand that. Sean Strickland stands a decent chance as he's been able to defend 73.4% of all his opponent's strike attempts in UFC middleweight competition, which happens to be the best rate in divisional history. Israel Adesanya will be rematching Robert Whittaker this coming weekend and was asked if he was surprised by anything in his first fight and what his thoughts were when he knocked Whittaker down with a right hand at the end of round 1. He said he changed his game plan a bit and was a little bothered that Whittaker didn't give him the credit he deserved pre-fight. Check it out.
I just called an audible. I fought differently. At the end of the first round when I dropped him, if you look at me, I wasn't even phased. I kind of looked at him. I was gonna do something, I think, but then I was just like, calm down, head to the corner because the bell rang. So I was just like, all right, bet, focus, and back to it. I guess I humbled him to the sense that he can't say the shit he was saying the first time around because he was talking all shit, saying this and that. Oh, I think
that Adesanya isn't as good as he
thinks he is. I remember that. I'm the elephant in the room, you know, I never forget. So I remember that, well, Israel's not as good as he thinks he is. So I was just like, I bet, I'll show you how great I think I am. Just because you don't think you're that great doesn't mean I have to think less of myself. This is the thing I hate about Kiwi culture sometimes. It's like, you have to think less of yourself to be accepted. I'm like, all that. I think I'm the shit.
MMA fighters have been shifting over to boxing as of late. To name a few we've seen so far are Anderson Silva, Tito Ortiz, Vitor Belfort, Tyron Woodley, and Francis Ngannou most recently is entertaining the idea. The main reason behind this trend is that boxing pays more in general. This has now caught another MMA fighter's interest in Paolo Costa. In an interview with AG Fight, he expressed his interest in possibly pursuing boxing. He said, boxing is in now. It's a new opportunity. It's just something to consider for now. I'm still under contract with the UFC, so I can't really do anything. First, I have to finish the contract. Boxing pays more, much more, in a shorter period of time. However, it doesn't have the promoting power that the UFC has. The UFC pay is low, but they have a high promoting power. It's ideal to have both. Take the best of both worlds. That's what Ngannou did. He became a UFC champion with a really bad purse. Now he's doing the right thing. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's at the top to get in a better financial situation outside of the UFC. Jon Jones continues to tease us with a heavyweight debut, and he has his sights locked on who is widely considered the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. Jones tweeted, "The greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest light heavyweight. Who wants to see it? I'm game." Stipe hasn't fought since his KO loss to Francis Ngannou back in March of 2021, and Jones hasn't fought since his unanimous decision victory versus Dominic Reyes back in February 2020. And finally, as we know, the bout between Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski was recently cancelled due to Max suffering an undisclosed injury. The Korean Zombie then replaced Max. In an interesting turn of events, Max will now serve as backup to his previous main event. According to Brett Okamoto from ESPN, he said, per sources, Max Holloway has been medically cleared from the injury that prevented him from fighting Alexander Volkanovski in March. He will resume training and has offered to weigh in as a backup to Volk versus Korean Zombie on April 9th.
As always, guys, if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button for me. If you're new, subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Thanks for watching.